How big does a bedroom actually need to be in RimWorld? Because bigger rooms cost more space, more wealth and more raids. So I ran an experiment using the same 5 colonists and gave them different sized bedrooms, and the results were not what I expected. So it was a fair experiment. I wanted to make sure everything was the same in each room. It turned out that there was no debuff on the first night for any of the rooms. I wanted to make the Hornet's bedrooms nicer, so we had to research furniture. On the second night there was a debuff on all rooms except the 6x6. To make it easier to track the Hornets, I had to call them Hornet A, B, C, D, E. Working from right to left, I put Hornet A in the smallest room and Hornet E in the largest room, and this caused something a little bit weird to happen. At this point the 2x2 and the 3x3 had a debuff, the 4x4, the 5x5 and the 6x6 didn't. Whilst the furniture was being researched, I wanted to build a 7x7 and 11x11 for future testing. Once that was complete, the Hornets got upgraded rooms. Because the Hornets didn't really have much to do, I decided to build a 20x20 room, just to see if it had any effect. Obviously this would require a lot of resources, increase wealth, which in turn increases raids, but also needs a lot of cleaning. Whilst that oversized bedroom was being built, the research was completed, so each Hornet got a double bed. Each of the Hornets got a massive buff ranging from 8 to 10 for the double beds. Hornet D, who was in the 7x7 room, had an additional buff of 5 from spacious interior, and Hornet E had an additional buff of 5 from her spacious interior and a buff of 2 for decent bedroom. To make the Hornets more comfortable, each one got an end table. Now that the 20x20 oversized bedroom was complete, each of the Hornets once again got an upgrade. Hornet A was now in the 4x4 room. Again, on the first night of sleeping in their new rooms, the buff wasn't applied. To make the Hornets even more comfortable, dressers were added to each room and the rooms were cleaned, along with a passive cooler to ensure the heat was just right, and also the removal of one squirrel. The Hornets' rooms are looking pretty good now. Hornet A in the 5x5 room had a buff of 1 from a mediocre room, and a total buff of 9 from being extremely comfortable and the mediocre room. Hornet B in the 6x6 room also had a total buff of 9 from being extremely comfortable and a mediocre bedroom. Hornet C in the 7x7 room also had a buff of 9 for the same reasons. Hornet D, who was in the 11x11 room, had a buff of 10 from being luxuriantly comfortable and an additional 3 from slightly impressive bedroom, totaling 13. Hornet E, who was in the 20x20 room, was luxuriantly comfortable and had an impressive bedroom, which gave her a total buff of 14. At this point I wanted to see if art made any difference, so I put a sculpture in each room, but it didn't seem to make much difference. I also wanted to test if the 4x4 room was any different to the rest, so I downgraded Hornet A. But it turned out she still had a buff of 11, which is the same as the 5x5 room she was in. One thing to note is that all 5 Hornets had good mood indicators. Before I reveal the results, if you learned something from this video, then please like and subscribe. So to score these rooms, the 4x4 room had a final score of 11, the 6x6 room had a final score of 11, the 7x7 room had a final score of 13, the 11x11 room had a final score of 13, and the ridiculously oversized 20x20 room had a score of 14. Thanks for watching.